This video is Tafe and Uni.
Hi everyone, my name's Meredith and I work in the vocational education sector. It's great to be here today just to have a chat about, just give some strategies and ideas around succeeding in the higher ed and the vet sector. So I'll just hand over to you, Krista.
Hi, I'm Krista. I work for one of the universities. I'm particularly interested in contributing to inclusive workplaces.
Hi, my name is Todd. I'm a person with a disability called cerebral palsy. I'm also an academic and a writer. I've been both a student at a university and a staff member with a disability, acting as a lecturer and a tutor.
Krista, I'd just like you to tell me about the type of student support services that people can tap into when they go to university.
What you'll find, no matter where you go, is there's often different names for similar things. So the university I work at, they call them learning advisors, and these staff support all students, no matter what their backgrounds or their skills are academically, and they can support them to improve. So it's like they support you to become a more efficient learner. So they're really fantastic. There's also disability advisors or diversity, disability and inclusion advisors, and they can provide supports around academic accommodations. So the advice that I'd have for young people who are looking to go to university is to spend a little bit of time online researching what sort of supports are available at the university and trying to understand what gaps there may be. And just to start asking questions. So there's some services that you'll be able to engage. All universities have a prospective student office, and there'll be some things that you might need to wait until you're actually enrolled in university. So universities support students in their career development journey in a number of different ways. So there are usually career services from when you start university, and they connect you with employers and highlight different internship programs and graduate programs that are available.
Just on that, Todd, I'd like you just to share with us your experiences and pathway into and through university and how you tapped into those services.
Oh gosh, it's a big story. I'm very privileged. I had a great upbringing, and both my parents were both educators, and that's both a privilege and a drawback in one way, because they encouraged me enormously academically. They basically said I can do anything I put my mind to. But on the other side of that, when I first started going to university, my first year was 2002, because I was among the first generation of students that had been placed into mainstream schools. There weren't a lot of role models that had previously gone to universities, so I found the biggest challenge was to actually get those doors open for me, sometimes literally.
Okay, so Todd, can you tell us about any apprehensions you had on your journey?
Well, I didn't have any apprehension academically, but going to university is kind of an extension of my daily life anyway. Part of the challenge that I face having a high-level physical disability is I have to navigate a world that is not built for me, and I don't necessarily just mean physical access. Part of having a physical disability is having backup plans. Like, what happens if I'm in the middle of a class and I need to go to the toilet? Or what happens if I'm navigating my wheelchair between buildings and I have a flat tire by running over a bobby pin or something like that? That may seem, like I'm, over anxious, or I'm making problems that aren't even there. But I feel as if I have a backup solution for every problem that I know I'm going to face, that personally makes me a whole lot better and feel less anxious as I go in and go about my daily activity about going to class or doing many of the social activities that Krista had mentioned previously. But going anywhere as a person with a disability is challenging, but I feel like I'm a representative for other people with disabilities, particularly disabilities like mine, because if you go to vocational training or you go to university, that's a chance to show people in the mainstream community that people with disabilities can thrive academically or achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And that's not a message that we hear often in mainstream society. So going to university or going to vocational education training is actually bigger than one person. It's about representing the community and doing them justice.
Can you share any advice that you'd give young people regarding becoming confident with disclosure and managing adjustments as part of your plan when you're going into the workplace?
I guess my situation is unique in a way that I can't hide my disability. So I was forced to disclose because the first thing that people see is the wheelchair. And sometimes that can be an advantage and sometimes it can be a disadvantage. The disadvantage is always there, that people are going to underestimate you, but I really use that to my advantage. I remember when I was an academic in my very first class, there was a mature student who came up to me and says, "Are you lost? Are you looking for your mummy?" And I was like, "No," because I was sitting there in the classroom waiting for all the students to come in. And then when all the students came in, I went to the front of the room and said, "Hello everybody, I'm your tutor in Australian politics this semester." And the woman just went bright red and ran out the door. I like to think that taught her a valuable lesson about not underestimating the capabilities of people with disabilities. It sounds trite to say, but when you're a person with a disability, one of the gifts that you have is that you know your strengths and the opportunities and the challenges that you face really well. So you don't have to do a lot of prep work that people without disabilities do. So you know what you're capable of going in. You know that you're going to face some challenges. Don't be afraid to shake up the system and say, "This is what I need and this is what I want. And if you don't give it to me, not only am I not happy, but I'm going to make you give it to me until that happens, I'm not going to be satisfied with your response."
Capturing that, what's the one piece of advice you're giving our young people today that you've learnt from your journey?
Again, people underestimate you based upon your disability, particularly if it's the first thing they notice. A lot of people with physical disabilities, I would say, they get judged automatically, and people have these judgments straight away. It's like I say to when I try to explain this difference, I say to a person, "Well, you, for example, Meredith, you have blonde hair. Does that mean that you are the same as another person with blonde hair?" That's not accurate, and it's not true, because while you look like you've got blonde hair, that doesn't define you as a person. So really my advice would be, a lot of people are going to tell you no, but if you're a person with a disability, you've already been told no basically every day of your life. There are many pathways to finding the right career for you or your academic dreams and goals. Just keep persevering your way through it, and recognise that yes, you're going to have your challenges, But if you're considering an academic career at university or a vocational education, chances are you're a lot further already than you've been told previously. So my advice is you're doing a good job, and if you get further, you're doing an even better job. So keep plugging away at it.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. That's fabulous.